Hi, it's Dr. Craig Duncan, and welcome back to our Maximising Human Performance podcast. And we're going to talk about a number of things today: nutrition, exercise, the workday, and stress. Well, the workday often causes us a lot of stress, but it's about trying to prevent that. Now, exercise, everyone knows, I think, how important it is. But it has always amazed me why such few people actually exercise on a regular basis. The reason being, I think, is not all of us really love exercise. In actual fact, I do, but that's what I studied and that's what I do, so I enjoy it. But most people, probably 90% of the population, find it a chore. So I think sometimes it's people like me thinking how wonderful it is, not being able to relate to people that don't really like it. And if we can get that relationship much better, I think it's going to be, start to work really well. The thing with exercise is there's many forms of activity. So it's not like we have to see what the latest thing on social media is, and if it's a high intensity workout, or if it's a low intensity workout, or if it's this strength training regime, or if it's this CrossFit regime, or whatever. All of those will work to a point. But it's more important what works for you and what you like and what you enjoy. And the other thing is, you can change. Okay, the most important thing is that you do it regularly, that you commit to doing it for a long term, not starting just over summer or starting for a few months. Get into something and just be active and enjoy it. That's the most important thing. You've got to enjoy it. It's got to be something that you actually like. It might be walking. Simple things like walking is so wonderful because, when you're walking, you can become more creative. You've got that time to think and you're actually getting that activity and you're getting that benefit. Look, we do know strength training is important because as we get older, we lose strength. Just simple things. It becomes harder to get upstairs. It's harder to get out of a chair or whatever. So a combination of some form of strength training and some form of aerobic training is probably the best outcome. But don't think it has to be something that exactly what someone or what the latest trend is at that time. Find something that works for you that you can do regularly. There is many forms. And that's the same with nutrition. How many diets do we read about? If we look on throughout social media, what's the latest diet? Some Hollywood star is doing this, or some expert is telling you to eat like this. Again, there is many nutritional regimes and many so-called diets that will actually work for a period of time. But it's what fits in with your personality. There's no point being on the strictest low-carb type diet if it doesn't fit in your personality. There's no point being on a paleo type diet if you really don't like meat too much, even though both these regimes will work. Okay, but it's finding out what fits in with you and something that you can do regularly. Because sure enough, as soon as you change from that regime and go back to a poor regime, then all your gains are going to be lost. So it's about what fits in with you, you can do regularly, your lifestyle, etc. Look, there's no point where you get this regime where you've got to prepare all this food if you're really busy at work and it doesn't happen, because what will happen is that you'll stop off at the local petrol station or something and buy any snack that's there. So they're the problems. I think even exercise and nutrition, they're quite related because we know we need to do better in those areas. But too often we're trying to live someone else's regime rather than our own. So it's about sitting down, reflecting and finding out what works for you and what you can do regularly. And then this leads into, the problem of stress. Like, stress is a killer in our society. How many times a day or a week do you ask one of your friends how they are and they go, oh, well, I'm so stressed. Well, what does that really mean? Look, we live in a life, it's busy. We make it busy. But it's also, the world is better than it ever has been. Now, you might think that's surprising me saying that, but if you really think about it, if we use things productive, the technology that we have, everything that we have, life is easier today than it ever has been. However, we complicate it by making it so busy and thinking that we're so stressed. All you've got to do is think back to a few generations ago and imagine how difficult it was for them. And I'm not sure that they walked around thinking how stressed it was. So for one, it's a mindset. If you start thinking about, yes, I am so stressed, then yeah, of course you will be. But how about we backtrack from that and start to think, how can we reduce the stress in our life? And we've spoken over the weeks about being prepared, having time for yourself and getting a real balanced lifestyle. Now, meditation, mindfulness, it's huge. We read about it everywhere. But again, just like exercise and nutrition, if I say, okay, you're going to follow this mindfulness regime, you've got to sit still staring at a wall for 30 minutes, I know I can't do that. But there are different forms of meditation that might work, or just taking that time out just to sit there, relax, to get your life in balance, to realize all the positive things that you have in life, and stress will start to reduce. And if you are so busy, why? Ask yourself, why? What are you actually doing? Are you just racing around from place to place without really thinking, why am I actually doing this? Do I have to do this? That's important. I'm very focused on, maximizing every day, because we truly don't know when we will have our last day. So we don't want to think we're just busy all the time, racing around. And I think that's one of the reasons we're always stressed. And that takes us into one of the major reasons that causes stress is our workday. But again, it's perception. I always think when I speak to people in the workplace that often they tell me how difficult it is where they are. But in my experience, the grass is not greener on the other side. Okay, so the workday, the workplace could be stressful. Okay, and you think it's going to be different somewhere else, but it's not. The changes have to be made in you. So how you structure your workday, that you're prepared to go into it, you've had good sleep, you're eating well, you've got your exercise regime, you've got a routine in place. Even with email, we all know, look, if I opened up my email now, there's thousands of emails there unanswered, but you need to sort of get that under control. We can't be looking at email all day long. How are you going to do that? You might check it at 10 o'clock in the morning, you might check it at 4 o'clock in the evening. I don't know, but getting some routine there. What about your nutrition in the workplace? You have your breakfast at home or whatever you do. What are you going to do for lunch? Are you prepared? What are you going to do in the afternoon? If you're going to a work meeting, like why do we sit at work meetings all the time and we have cake and we have biscuits? Why can't they be something more nutritious? Why can't it be some of the basic bars that we have, or some of the supplements that we use here? I mean, they're great. They're tasty and they're more nutritious than sitting there and having a couple of biscuits or a piece of cake. What about that 2 to 3 p.m. time when you start to get really tired? Okay, what can we do to stop that? Now, there are a number of workplaces that are putting in places where you can go for a nap, and that is if you work from home or you work for yourself or you're a business owner, having a 20 to maximum 30-minute nap at that time around 2 p.m., the productivity post that will definitely increase. These are simple things that we can put in place that will make a difference. If you're at a desk all day, get up, walk around each hour. Like there's a lot of people now using stand-up desks because they think it's better for them. Yes, it could be, but if it doesn't work for you and you're uncomfortable standing up, then it's not going to work. Okay, it's like everything in this whole performance area. I call it like a performance X solution, and the X is you, because it's got to ultimately fit in with your personality. Look, there's a lot that we've discussed today, and I'm not you. So I just hope this just evokes you to be able to reflect and think and just really just go back and reflect on how you can make your life better.